Sri Ram! Jai Sri Ram! Jai Jai Sri Ram!
There are two Indias being built. One based on religion and the other upholding the constitution.
Every time a politician speaks on communal lines or a government passes discriminatory laws, many citizens want to voice out their opposition. But if there's one state where citizens have organized themselves under various groups to fight for the values of the country, it is Karnataka. When there were open calls about changing the constitution,
संविधानवನ್ನ ತಿದ್ದುಪಡಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ
हमें संवैधानिक बदलाव करने पड़ते हैं. अगर संविधान के अंदर हमें कोई बदलाव करना होता है,
the civil society group distributed copies of constitution. When the channel spoke the language of hate,
ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಮತಾಂತರ ದಂಧೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಅವ್ಯಾಹತವಾಗಿ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದರ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕ್ಲೂಸಿವ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ.
विकसित राष्ट्र या इस्लामिक राष्ट्र,
these groups got them censured. When Prime Minister Modi made remarks about Muslims,
संपत्ति इकट्ठी करके किसको बांटेंगे? जिनके ज्यादा बच्चे हैं उनको बांटेंगे, घुसपैठियों को बांटेंगे.
these groups went to Election Commission. As you can see, the civil society groups in Karnataka have been relentlessly on the ground, speaking against injustice and discrimination, fighting against bad laws and bigotry, and standing up for one thing that we all must: the Indian Constitution.
The major role civil society activists are trying to do in this election is to give an ideological framework to these elections.
The Constitution says untouchability is wrong, it's a crime, but not the caste. Caste is not a crime. And it ensures political and civil liberty as a fundamental right, but not the social economic rights. It is an obligation, it is not a fundamental right.
BJP is having that they are having an abstract ideology of Hindutva, that they can link it to the day-to-day events and can make people respond to the local needs as well as ideological needs simultaneously, which Congress is not doing since last 2 or 3 decades. That is what civil society is trying to fill up, that Congress is doing a normal democratic politics of addressing the local issues, while civil society is framing an ideological framework for these elections against Hindutva, giving an alternative ideological framework for these elections.
A vibrant and active civil society that acts as a watchdog should be allowed to thrive. But the government in the last 5 years has been cracking down on anyone who dares to question them. Despite risks of prison, FIR and process as punishment, several civil society groups in India have been doing some very important work. One of them is Bahutva Karnataka.
There was a time when Bommai was the Chief Minister of Karnataka, and he had issued a statement in response to a dishonor killing.
ಆ ಭಾವನೆಗಳು ಧಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಸಹಜವಾಗಿ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ.
And at that time as citizens we were absolutely enraged, and we felt that it was unbecoming of somebody who was holding the office of the Chief Minister to speak so callously and to also speak in such a communal language.
Bahutva Karnataka has been releasing a series of report cards analyzing the performance of the incumbent government ahead of the elections. They also organized public readings of the Constitution to spread awareness of fundamental rights and values.
The reason we did not say vote for X, vote for Y is simply because Bahutva only bats for the Constitution. We don't bat for any political party.
The Constitution, the way it is being used today and the way it is being perceived today, it needs to be reclaimed from the people who have sort of usurped it from the common people. What triggered this for me is the anti-CA movement, where I was curious to know why so many people are talking about the Constitution suddenly, almost 70 years after it was made. And almost every other day I would see the preamble on the papers and all over social media.
Reclaim Constitution has been busy this election season. But so are we at the News Minute and News Laundry, as we have been working together to bring you stories from across India. It's an ad-free and sponsor-free coverage. To support our work, become a subscriber today or contribute to our election fund.
Elections are around the corner, but we started our work long back. Many months ago, we approached the Chief Election Officer of Karnataka and showed him the material that we have created, and also he instantly understood how electoral literacy and constitutional literacy go hand in hand, and he gave us a nod to go ahead and talk to people about electoral campaigns. As citizens, we can still do our own electoral literacy campaigns.
There are untouched people. People are being given only one-sided story. They are believing that. You should be hopeless if only you go to people, you give them alternate viewpoint and they reject it. Reach out to people, every family, mobilize the whole family. This was the idea of the left. Let me repeat that. If only you do that, and it cannot happen overnight. It will take some time, and it will happen. If I do or I don't do or you do, it is going to happen. But that is the only way, and there is a hope. There is always a hope.
The challenge is not any political party like BJP. Challenge is an institution of RSS, which challenges very idea of India. That is the biggest threat that is being faced now. Why we don't want BJP to come to power is a power to BJP in a democratic house, lower house, is power to RSS. RSS, which is going to smash that idea of India which was formed, crystallized for 100 years.
In 1937, when first election was conducted after this India Act was promulgated, Hindu Mahasabha, whatever restrictions were on Savarkar was lifted, and Hindu Mahasabha contested in the election, and Savarkar asked the RSS to come and work for them as a youth wing. Hedgewar denies it. He says that our election is not our business. We want to build Hindu society. We want to build the character of the Hindus. They wanted to build Hindutva society. When you build a Hindutva society, it will elect Hindu Rashtra. That is the basic. So to counter that, you have to build a democratic society. You don't have a democracy. In a casteist society, you cannot have a democratic society.
A ordinary Girish Karnad, a ordinary Anantmurthy, who are writers, who never were thought to be forces, a ordinary Prakash Raj, they see it as the biggest challenge to Hindutva. That is where I am saying, learn the lesson here, that your commitment and your spirit of that, your existence, not others, your existence is challenged to Hindutva. So being modern is being constitutional.
ಮೋದಿ ದುರಹಂಕಾರಿ ಆಗಬಾರದು, ಅದು ನಿಜ. ದೇಶವೂ ಕೂಡ ದುರಹಂಕಾರಿ ಆಗಕೂಡದು.
Secularism is the great legacy that we have, and we need to fight for it. It's very sad that in the last 10-15 years it's got weakened, and there have been forces which have eaten away at it and made the country a dangerous place, and I would certainly fight to maintain.
In today's world, in the last decade, the hatred what we are seeing, the divisive politics what we are seeing, I think we need the change, and I voted for the change.
This election season, your right to choose puts you at the heart of it again.
We'd like to be your eyes and ears. Choose the journalism and media that serves democracy and you.
Simply log on to newslaundry.com/2024 election fund and choose an amount of your choice for the reports of your choice.